You're doing everything they told you to do. You studied hard. You got the job. You save a little every month. And yet, you look at your bank account and something feels deeply wrong. You're not broke, but you're not building anything either. You're just surviving. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you're starting to wonder if the advice you grew up with, the advice that was supposed to protect you, is actually the reason you're stuck. Here's the truth. Nobody in your family is going to tell you. Your parents' money advice will not work in the economy you're actually living in. Not because your parents were wrong to give it, but because the world they gave it in no longer exists. And the longer you keep following rules built for a different era, the more ground you lose, quietly, invisibly, every single month. I used to keep a fixed deposit. I was proud of it. My parents celebrated it. You're being responsible, they said. I had $2,000 sitting in an FD earning around 5% annually. I thought I was being smart. I thought I was winning. Then one day I actually did the math. After taxes and inflation, I was earning close to nothing in real terms. Meanwhile, the cost of groceries, rent, and the things I actually needed in life had gone up significantly. I wasn't saving. I was slowly losing, just in a way that felt safe. That's the trap. Your parents' money advice will often feel responsible, mature, even wise. And that feeling is exactly what makes it dangerous. Because bad advice dressed up as virtue is the hardest advice to question. I'm not here to disrespect anyone's parents. I'm here because I made these mistakes, watched people around me make them, and spent years figuring out what actually works now. So let's get into it. Here's what this is actually costing you in real numbers. The average inflation rate globally hovers between 4 to 7% in most emerging economies. In countries like India, Nigeria, or the Philippines, it regularly touches 6 to 8% during volatile periods. If your savings are sitting in a regular bank account or a low-yield fixed deposit earning 3 to 5%, you are losing purchasing power every single year. Not losing in a dramatic, obvious way. Losing in the way a slow leak flatters a tire. You don't notice until you're already on the ground. Now multiply that over 10 years. Someone who keeps $10,000 in a savings account earning 3%, while inflation runs at 6%, doesn't just miss out on growth. They effectively lose over 25% of their money's real value over that decade. $10,000 becomes the equivalent of roughly $7,400 in purchasing power. That's money that evaporated because of advice that felt safe. And it goes beyond savings accounts. The advice to avoid debt at all costs, to never invest in things you don't understand, to just work hard and save. These were survival strategies designed for a post-war industrial economy where jobs were stable, pensions existed, and inflation was low. That economy is gone, and the people still playing by its rules are the ones quietly falling behind while wondering why. Here are 6 beliefs that are keeping you broke. Belief number 1, saving money is enough. Saving is not a wealth strategy. It is a starting point. There is a massive difference between the two. Your parents saved because they could rely on pensions, government schemes, and a cost of living that didn't outpace their income. You do not have those same guarantees. A person who saved $500 a month for 10 years has $60,000. A person who invested that same $500 monthly in a diversified index fund or SIP has historically more than double that, without working harder, just differently. Open a SIP, an index fund account, or even a low-cost ETF this week. Not next month, this week. Belief number 2, your job is your security. Your parents' generation could work 30 years at one company and retire with a pension. That world is over. In the last 5 years alone, millions of white-collar jobs in tech, finance, and media were eliminated not because those workers were bad at their jobs, but because the structure of employment changed around them. The new security is not job security. It's skill liquidity, the ability to earn from multiple sources. Your job is income stream number 1. It should never be the only one. Start building a second income stream, even if it generates only $100 a month right now. That's not the point. The point is the habit and the infrastructure. Belief number 3, debt is always the enemy. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If you borrowed $5,000 to buy an asset that returned $15,000 over 3 years, was that debt bad? No, that was leverage. Your parents told you to avoid debt because the debt available to them was mostly consumer debt, credit cards, hire purchase, loans for furniture and televisions. That kind of debt is still dangerous. But debt used to acquire assets, build skills, or generate income operates on completely different logic. Wealthy people use debt strategically every single day. The fear of all debt keeps ordinary people from the tools that create wealth. Belief number 4, a good education guarantees a good life. This one is emotional, so I'll say it carefully. Education is valuable, but a degree is not a financial plan. The average student loan burden in the U.S. is around $37,000. In many countries, families take on enormous debt or deplete savings to fund degrees that don't lead to the income needed to justify the cost. The question your parents never taught you to ask is, what is the return on investment of this qualification? A $50,000 degree that leads to a $35,000 a year job is a financial loss, not a win, no matter how prestigious the institution. Ask that question before every major education decision. Before I get to the belief that I think is the single most damaging one, the one that took me the longest to unlearn, and the one I see holding back almost everyone I talk to. I need to finish this list, because the next 2 points build directly into it, and without them, the final one won't hit the way it needs to. Also, your parents' money advice will never tell you what I'm about to say next, because they genuinely believe it's protecting you. Safety seeking is a trauma response dressed up as wisdom. When your parents grew up in economic uncertainty, political instability, or periods of scarcity, play it safe kept them alive and stable. That advice made complete sense in that context. But financial safety seeking in a growth economy doesn't preserve wealth. It guarantees you'll never build it. The safest seeming options, keeping cash, avoiding investment, staying in a stable, low-paying job, are only safe in the short term. Over 10, 20, 30 years, they are the riskiest choices you can make. The real risk is not losing money in a market dip. The real risk is reaching 50 with nothing compounding for you. Here's one that nobody talks about. In most cultures globally, whether you're from a South Asian, African, Latin American, or East Asian household, talking about money openly is considered rude, boastful, or simply inappropriate. So you grew up not knowing what people earned, not knowing how to negotiate, not knowing what investments your relatives made or avoided, and not knowing that the family next door was quietly building assets while your family quietly saved in a bank account. That silence cost you. Because the people who built wealth in every culture, every generation, talked about money. They sought information, compared strategies, asked uncomfortable questions. Find one person in your life you trust and have an honest conversation about money this week. That conversation alone will do more for your financial trajectory than another year of silent saving. The deepest belief, wealth is for other people. This is the one. This is the belief your parents' money advice will most consistently reinforce, not maliciously, but structurally. When you grow up in a household that is managing scarcity, the implicit lesson you absorb is that people like you manage money carefully, you don't grow it aggressively. Wealth is for business owners, for people with connections, for the lucky. That story is the most expensive one you will ever carry. Because the moment you believe wealth is not available to you, you stop making the moves that build it. You don't explore investments. You don't negotiate your salary. You don't start the business. You don't ask the uncomfortable question. The belief creates the outcome it predicts. Everything I've shared today comes down to one fundamental shift. Your parents built their financial decisions around the question, how do I avoid losing what I have? You need to build yours around a different question. How do I grow what I have into something that works without me? That shift, from preservation to growth, from fear to strategy, is not a personality trait. It's a decision, and it starts with one action. This week, open one investment account. It doesn't matter if you put $20 in it, a SIP, an index fund. Because your parents' money advice will never teach you to think like an investor. But the moment you hold even a small investment, your psychology starts to change. You start paying attention differently. You start asking better questions. And that is how everything begins. If you want to keep building that mindset, if you want to know exactly what to do with your first $1,000, your first raise, or the money you've been sitting on in that savings account, subscribe to this channel. That is exactly what we cover here. Not theory, real moves, built for the world you're actually living in.